Now, David, to slightly more serious things, I don't know where the headline came from. How did it come to pass that I was reading in the newspaper that David Warner had put his hand up, was the way I read it, to open for Australia?
Oh, my comment was only if my phone rang and they called me.
So you asked that question?
If they asked, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to turn down a game for Australia, but I think a lot of it got taken out of context by some people, but it is what it is. But if I was going to get a call, why wouldn't I say yes?
How do you think? You'll be up shape, ready to go?
I've had probably the same preparation. I might have to play a Shield game though, see how I go. But no, I don't think I'll be putting the pads on though.
We can have a look at some of the Australia A scores and have a look at what happened up there in far north Queensland. There was a big discussion about Constas, about McSweeney, about Harris, and about Bancroft. There are the numbers. So Constas 0 and 16, Harris 17 and 36, Bancroft 0 and 16, and McSweeney was the standout in the game, 39 and 88 not out. But very hard to encapsulate someone's preparation to 2 innings. Vaughnie, I'll start with you. Who's your top 6? Who's opening the batting for Australia in the first test in Perth?
I mean, it's hard. I haven't seen a great deal of many of those players. McSweeney, I've seen 1 or 2 innings. Constas just fresh out the kind of wrapper. Got a good 100 that I saw online. I personally think you pick your best batter. And I think the next best batter for Australia is Josh Inglis.
Josh Inglis?
Yeah, I think he's the next best player. So I'd just get him into that lineup. How you jig your order? I know Steve Smith's back at number 4. Can Inglis go to open the batting? Could Mitchell Marsh go to the top of the order? Again, these are suggestions, but I would just pick the next best batter, and I think Josh Inglis is that batter.
We had to speak to Josh Inglis. We'll get your thoughts in a moment, but we spoke to Josh Inglis in the pre-game, and this is how he responded to test aspirations.
Yeah, I think I'll always back myself and say yes, but I guess that decision's out of my hands. All I can do is sort of make runs and put performances on the board, and we'll see where that goes.
He is making runs. You won a World Cup final with him just a year ago. All right, Davey, this is the one that everyone's interested in. They like Michael's opinion, but you're fresh out of the game. Who's number 1 and 2 for Australia in the first test in Perth? Yeah, look,
I think where Mitch Marsh bats at the moment, Vaughnie, I think that's settled, and I think that's where Australia could take the game away from the opposition. I think Nathan McSweeney's a talent. I think they can run the gauntlet there with him open the batting. No, he bats 3 for South Australia, but I think there's leadership quality there as well. So that's potential to throw him in there. It could be just a 6 months thing. If he goes well, he can cement his spot. I think young Sam Constas has got a lot of talent. Maybe he might be that replacement for Usman Khawaja potentially in 12 months' time if Usman pulls the pin. We know what Marcus Harris and Cameron Bancroft both bring to the table. They've been around. Unfortunately, I haven't put the numbers on the board, but with both of them, I think they're still making the same mistakes. There's no airspeed at the moment in Shield cricket, and unfortunately, you're playing at venues as well that don't bounce. And have they played at Optus Oval? Are they still making those? Like with Cameron Bancroft, his foot's still out the point. If it's someone bowling 140, 145 kilometres an hour, he's still going to make the same mistake. So
what's the mistake that he's making in your eyes?
So in my eyes, it's about his front foot being pointed out to point. And when there's faster airspeed, so the bowlers are bowling faster, he's going to get rolled through LBW or he'll get caught in the slips coordinate. And he had that trouble when he was playing for Australia. Marcus Harris hasn't had the greatest start that he would like, but I think he's still got the game. But at the moment, I think McSweeney's probably ahead of him. And he might be, I reckon Harris will be the travelling reserve.
Who are you picking?
McSweeney.
You're picking McSweeney, yeah?
All right. Stunning scenes in New Zealand. I was watching it last night on Fox Cricket. I was having a chat to Daniel Vittoria and asked him where he rated it in New Zealand sporting performances. Now, New Zealand have won 65 Olympic gold medals. This is a rough 5-minute operation we put together, Vaughnie, of what we thought 5-1 were New Zealand's best performances in world sport. So we start with the 2019 Netball World Cup, where the Silver Ferns got the job done in a very tight game. So we sort of put that at 5. This is a pretty quickly done list, I must admit. The Kiwis win the 2008 Rugby League World Cup. Australia's generally favourites. Team New Zealand winning the 2017 America's Cup, obviously very popular in that part of the world. Michael Campbell holds off Tiger Woods to win the 2005 US Open. That was a massive day for New Zealand sport. Probably put in at number 1, the All Blacks, 24-year World Cup drought, winning in 2011. I put it to you, Michael and David, you both played a lot of cricket in India. New Zealand fans may disagree. I think going off the preparation they had and problems, Vaughanie, to beat India 3-0 on their home deck is the best sporting performance we've ever seen from a New Zealand sporting team.
Yeah, I think you've missed a massive...
What one have I missed?
New Zealand's greatest ever sports person is Ben Stokes.
Well, that's a very good point. Most of the great English cricketers are.
Yeah, and he won a World Cup for England. I would say that this is the greatest achievement, particularly in our game. I don't know of a better series victory, away from home in India. You can go, and when England won there 12 years ago, they won 2-1. To go and have a clean sweep against India in their own backyard, with India preparing pitches to kind of master the spin, that for me is the greatest test match series win. Whether it's the greatest moment in New Zealand sporting history, that's debatable, but in terms of cricket, it's up there with anything that's been achieved.
I'm declaring it. Why is it so hard to do this, David?
Oh, you just look at what you're up against as well. Like, you know, it's foreign conditions. I think the most important thing was there is Mitchell Santner and Ajaz Patel as well, because you've got someone going away from the right-handers, and you know, at the other end you've got Phillips who's coming in as well and bowling some part-time, or more than part-time actually. Yeah. But I think the most important thing there is they were without Kane Williamson as well. He had a little niggle. Tom Latham, new captain, and you know he held him. You know, he's got to hold his head high. I think that the way they held their catches in that first test set the tone for the rest of the Test match series. But a whitewash there with a lot of list of achievements. That's definitely got to be up there.
Yeah, well done to the Kiwis. Absolutely stunning. The big names in India get no bigger than Rohit Sharma, as you know, and Virat Kohli. They didn't have the best of series. I think Rohit is missing one test with personal situation, but Virat Kohli, have a look at him. 6 innings, averaging 15.5, 93 runs. They are most un-Virat Kohli numbers. And Rohit Sharma, similar numbers. Are you concerned about the Indian top 6 when they come out here, Vaughanie, or is this a bit of a blip in the radar?
Oh, I mean, India and the way that they play here in Australia, if you go back to the last series that they won, they had no Virat Kohli. They chased down that target at the Gabba. Australia had not lost a test match at the Gabba in 32 years, but I will say there's a real concern about Virat Kohli, the way that he played. That full toss that he missed to Mitchell Santner, that's not Virat Kohli. He's a great of the game, and there's some of the run out, 2 balls to go in that day's play. That's not what Virat Kohli does when he's at his best. So you're looking at all these dismissals, and you're looking at a player that's just fighting at the minute. The one thing that India are going to require to compete here in Australia is Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli getting big runs and getting back to their best. I hope they do. I fear that they won't. I fear that they might just be over the edge, and when you face an Australian attack who are up there with the greatest that have ever played the game in their own backyard, you've got to arrive here with solid technique, and more importantly, you've got to arrive with an amazing mentality. I hope they can get it right in the next few weeks.
David, this is why it's fantastic, because you can take us straight into team meetings. When you're playing India in a test match, what are the general thoughts about bowling to Rohit and Virat when you're in the Australian hat?
Yeah, look, I think it's all about using the crease and you know, coming a bit wider and angling it in and bring those slips coordinates into play. I think we've done that time and time again, and we've had some success in India and in Australia. But you know, those two there hold the key to how India's going to go. Young opening batter Jaiswal as well. He's a talent. First time out here. These wickets, you know, he likes to drive on the up as well, so that's going to bring our slips coordinates into play. But those two guys there, yeah, age is just a number, but they're at the back end. It's a Border Gavaskar trophy. Their attitude, if it's on, they're 2 guys that are hard to stop. And when they are on, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, you know, it's going to be a big summer for them.